Today we had a team meeting, and the meetings today, like you can tell that intensity is, you guys talked about it. I'm always on the edge of my seat, but it's picked up. Week one's fastly approaching, and we're got to go to a really hard place to play, a playoff team that's very well coached, and we got to be on it.
Jonathan Gannon, head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, talking with the media yesterday. We're not yet to game week. We will be there soon, but talking about how the intensity has picked up, needs to pick up, moving into the regular season and the opener against the Buffalo Bills. We've talked so much, too, Bick, about identity, and I guess reputation is more the word I'm looking for when it comes to the Arizona Cardinals organization. And, it starts at the top, then it goes to the coaching staff and the front office, trickles down to some players, reputation of Kyler Murray. We're going to get into that a little bit later on. There was an interesting piece on The Athletic where, again, it was one of those pieces where they get the anonymous thoughts on different organizations. And these came from agents. 31 agents were quoted in this piece by Ben Standig about operations, reputation, who's trustworthy, who's not, who's got it together, who doesn't. I guess it's changing. One of the themes of the piece was, and a lot of these agents in their quotes said, well, it's not like it used to be where there was, a third of the league was operating poorly. Most of the teams are buttoned up with a few exceptions, was one of the quotes that stood out to me. But one of the questions that they presented was, which is the most unstable franchise? Of 31 responses, the Carolina Panthers were the overwhelming favorite. They got 9 votes. The Las Vegas Raiders got 7, 3 each for the Jets, Jaguars, Cowboys, and Arizona Cardinals.
Wow. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me, Vinny. We're coming out of a very, very dark time for the Arizona Cardinals. Michael Bidwill, as owner of the Cardinals, was accused of cheating, harassment, other stuff by ex-employees. I don't know where any of that stuff is in terms of litigation or not litigation. It seems to kind of grown quietly, but we also know that Michael Bidwill has publicly vowed to be better, to have an organization that is better, and I think they've made a lot of changes. They've hired a ton of people. They've moved operations. They've clearly did a good job at bringing in the right hierarchy of GM and head coach. At least it appears to be that way now. So I think when you look at something like that and the Cardinals are being described like that, I think it's more from in the rearview mirror than the windshield.
I agree.
It is sobering, though, to hear them in the same breath, the same grouping as all those franchises that are like the biggest train wrecks that you think of, like the Raiders and
the Panthers have a terrible owner. That guy is a jerk face, right? And there's many, many examples of it.
Well, and they point out to David Tepper, the jerk face owner of the Panthers, having so much influence on the front office decisions that he's hindering the success of his own franchise.
Well,
I'm wondering, though, like when you say this, and some people may be surprised because we're not that far away from a year of complete dysfunction. 2022 was a year of complete dysfunction for the Arizona Cardinals. Everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. There was a lot of embarrassing things that happened off the field. I'm wondering, and I think this is an annual thing. I got to go back and research it. The voting in 2022, would the Cardinals have been way higher on this list?
Yes.
And how much have they improved in just a 2-year amount of time?
Well, that's a good question. And are those improvements, are they evident to the people who deal with the Cardinals across the league? You know what I mean? Because that's also part of it, right? So if you've got GMs, other scout, whatever it is, whoever is involved in sort of dispensing this information, are they finding a more user-friendly, softer kind of organization to deal with? Again, and I think this is more of a reflection of where the Cardinals have been, and hopefully they won't go back to that place that they've been. And so I think turning this football team around and getting back to, being competitive, putting together a winning record. It's been a long time since they've had a winning record.
2021.
Well, I guess it hasn't been that long.
Yeah. It's
been a long time. It's been a long
seems like
time
100
since they've
years
been a
ago.
playoff team.
2021.
Oh, yeah. It seems like a longer than that.
It seems like 100 years.
No, it does. It really, really does. And it wasn't much of a playoff appearance.
It was embarrassing from start to finish.
Right. It was embarrassing.
It feels like a long time when it's been multiple years since they've won more than 4 games. When you have back-to-back years where you win 4 games, everything else feels like it was
That's
a
a good point.
generation
That's a great
ago.
That's a
point,
really
and
good
it
point.
ties into what you said. The NFL is not designed to be bad for 3 straight years.
No.
So when you're on the doorstep of that potentially, and I think the Cardinals are going to be improved this year, but it makes it seem like it's been much longer than it actually has been. A couple of the responses on that question, the worst run organization. One of the agents responded Raiders and said traditional choices in this category like Washington and Arizona, they've improved or appear headed in a good direction. But then says Vegas is still doing the ways they've always done it. Now, they did feature one agent that answered the Cardinals, and here was the comment. The Kyler Murray extension is why they are stuck. Why give Kyler that extension and quickly fire the head coach who wanted him and the GM who drafted him? You can't fire the QB. That one made me think a little bit. July of 22 was before that horrible season. Kyler Murray was healthy at the beginning of 2022, didn't finish it healthy.
Right.
Everything that, like I said, could have gone wrong, went wrong. Steve Keim went rogue. Cliff Kingsbury apparently forgot how to coach. It was a terrible year. But the only thing that I can think of, I mean, why extend Kyler Murray there? It was a weird circumstance. We all get it. It comes from the Eric Burkhart memo that went out, and it was a strange situation. But they ultimately had belief in Kyler Murray. That's what it is. And yes, this new regime didn't really have much of a choice not to have belief in Kyler Murray, but I give Kyler Murray credit to this point because I think he's convinced Monty Ossenfort, the front office, and the entire coaching staff that he can be the guy that they thought he was at once upon a time.
And again, I still don't understand why there are so many skeptics here locally after what we saw near the end of last season. The victories on the road that Kyler Murray engineered in a way that was much different than the Kyler Murray running all over the place trying to make off-schedule plays. I would think there'd be a little more kind of optimism or belief in it, but I think it's also a reflection that maybe a lot of casual fans tuned this team out at some point last year.
Yeah, I think a lot of, to use your term, casual fans are also scarred by the history of this organization.
Definitely.
When it comes to the Arizona Cardinals, for a lot of people in this market, it's like, you know what, show me first.
If you're not a diehard, if you're not in the media, and your team isn't winning football games, you really have to be entertaining to make casual fans say, you know what, this beautiful Sunday in Arizona, I'm going to spend it on this couch. Mm-hmm. You've got to cross a threshold to make people value that experience over doing something outdoors or something else on their weekends. And I think this is kind of the disconnect. So because I'm still kind of astounded, well, I don't know if he's going to make it. I don't know if I like Kyler Murray. Is he really any good? I'm astounded at the level of that I still get. I really am. Because I think I thought Kyler Murray answered a lot of those questions last year.
I do.
And then with every other, I mean, how many testimonials have we heard about Kyler Murray? We have more of them today.
Yeah.
It's been an endless parade of people gassing up Kyler Murray. Now, he's got to show it on the field. And if you beat Josh Allen in Buffalo, I think people will close the book on that narrative.
I agree.
I hope.
Thanks for watching Bickley and Marotta. Click to see the latest Bickley Blast and hit the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.